Let's talk about what co-writing can look like. There are a lot of different ways that it can go. I got to do a fun co-write today with a student of mine and with my husband. And a lot of times when there are three people in the room, they each sort of have their own unique contribution that they're making. And one frequent dynamic is that one person is the track person and they're kind of hands-on with the gear, putting down all the drums and guitar, keys, whatever. And then one or two people are the top line people that are more focused on lyrics and melody. Oftentimes when it's three people, one of the non-track people is the voice, the person who's going to sing the song, and then the other person is kind of the third, which is they're neither hands-on necessarily with the track or going to be the one singing it, but they're just there to sort of be a catalyst, help with lyric writing and chiming in on the song, the melody, but doing it more from the back seat. So today I was the third. Walker Burroughs is a fantastic singer, so he is going to be the voice. And then Kurt, my husband, was the track person. So a lot of times when this is a situation, our end goal is to pitch these songs for licensing for film and TV. So we did a little bit of homework ahead of time. And quite often before we do co-writes, we have created a playlist of similar songs out there that are sort of our inspiration. So we had a playlist that was maybe 7 songs long that all felt appropriate for Walker's voice. And then we also need to think about what is useful in the marketplace in terms of what a music supervisor will be looking for in placement for a film or a TV in-show or promo placement. So, the prep work was getting the playlist together, and then once we started, we listened to the playlist together, just portions of each song, kind of talked about the things that we liked about them, and we realized Kurt had started a track for us the day before, just like a verse chorus, but we realized that we were kind of vibing with one of the other songs off the playlist, so we basically set aside the track start that Kurt had done and we started fresh. And so while Kurt started working on building this new different type of track, Walker and I sat in the back of the room putting our heads together on lyrics, and I immediately started in on a word bank. Kurt threw out the word brave, and so Walker and I started putting our heads together on how are we going to treat the word brave, what's the context. I started a word bank on my lyric sheet. One of these days I'm going to show you how I do my lyric sheets, but I started my word bank, and at first our approach was going to be drawing on Walker's experience with American Idol and bravery in terms of those moments before you step out on the stage into the spotlight and the stress and as he put it, that's the hardest part, is just being backstage and being ready to walk out and then actually walking out onto the stage. Because once you're out there, it's just all happening. But then we started to shift it to more of a melancholy version of being brave, where it's the bravery that happens after you've already fallen from grace and you've been in the depths, and then you're making the decision to try again. And you've made mistakes and you're not perfect, but you are going to try again. So I don't want to tell you the song title. I want to keep that private. But we came up with the song title that was sort of capturing both, a darkness, but also a light in the song title. It had some alliteration to it. And then once we had the title, before we had the title, we kind of pieced together at least a verse, pre-chorus, chorus. So then we had Walker go into the vocal booth and flow out gibberish melodic ideas. And this was before we had any real lyrics going. So Walker ran maybe 4 or 5 tracks of just gibberishing out, flowing out melodic ideas. Then he came back into the control room, and we pieced together from the ideas that were there, we pieced together the ones that we liked the best. So then once we had the melody kind of comped together and mapped out, then Kurt put on his headphones and started working on the track more so that we could focus on writing lyrics. And then Walker and I sort of changed the angle of where we had started. We came up with our 5-second scene to try to give us a little more context, but we were also trying to keep the lyric general enough that it could apply to a lot of different placement opportunities. So since the tone was sort of melancholy, we needed to make sure that the verse didn't get too dark, like we couldn't let the verse be in the struggle too much. So that was when I relied on my word bank. We were also getting into our thesaurus apps and our iPhones. Today, I never ended up using my rhyming dictionary today, which is normally something that I use. But another thing that Walker was doing was looking up quotes about being brave. And sometimes that can be a good inspiration. You read a famous quote by somebody famous about, whatever the topic is, and that might prompt something. But little by little, Walker and I, we worked backwards. So we knew where our landing point was going to be at the end of the chorus. We knew what the title was going to be, where the landing point was going to be. So then we came up with the line that preceded the title, and then we came up with the line before that, and then so that was going to be the back half of the chorus. So then we came up with the front half of the chorus. I might have come up with that a little bit sooner, but anyway, then we came up with the pre-chorus, the line that was going to set up the chorus, and then from there we knew based on the emotional tone of the chorus that we needed to keep the verses from being too dark. So that was when I drew on my word bank, because I knew I could choose the words that had the right psychology that would keep it a little bit lighter, a little bit more positive in the messaging and the psychology of the word, the influence words that I've talked about in other videos. So little by little, it ended up Walker wrote one of the verses and I wrote the other verse simultaneously. There was a lot of us just sitting there quietly, sort of focusing on our own stuff, and then we would powwow and we'd compare and sort of improve on whatever the other one had come up with. And then we ended up, while my husband went to pick up our child at school, I ran the rig and Walker went in, and we at least just got a rough documentation of our draft, the top line that Walker and I had come up with over the track that Kurt had made. And Kurt was chiming in on lyrics too, because he's very familiar with licensing. And so now we have a draft, and we're all going to live with it and get together next week and hopefully make some tweaks and do the final vocal. So that's how this co-write went today. It was really fun, and I'm excited to share the song.